With the NHL regular season almost over and the next round of the playoffs set to begin here, it looks as though the Toronto Maple Leafs have lost confidence in their backup goaltender, Garret Sparks. It's been a very interesting day with events in the goaltending situation with the Maple Leafs. We'll get into all the latest coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams, so if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So as I mentioned, it's been a very interesting day with the Toronto Maple Leafs organization, and specifically with the goaltending situation. Obviously, as they prepare to finish out the regular season and get ready to battle again here with the Boston Bruins in the playoffs, they've decided to go ahead and make a change. Now, things got started off today by calling up goaltender Michael Hutchinson from the Toronto Marlies. Now, when that was first announced that he was being called up, it wasn't quite clear what was going on. You know, was somebody injured? Did somebody have to take a quick leave of absence? Like, it wasn't really clear what was going on. But as the Maple Leafs went out for practice, Frederik Andersen was on the ice, so obviously whatever was going on had nothing to do with him. And then it was noted as well online that Garret Sparks' stall in the locker room was completely cleared out and he appeared to be gone, and it wasn't quite clear what was going on with him. Many NHL insiders and reporters were indicating that there was nothing on the waiver wire, so that Garret Sparks was not placed on waivers in an attempt to maybe send him down to the Marlies or anything like that. So it took a little while for the information to come out, but now things have become clear. I'm going to show you now a series of tweets from Kristen Shilton, who's a TSN reporter who covers the Leafs, in a series of events here that unfolded shortly thereafter. The first tweet comes out and says, Garret Sparks will spend the next 10 days away from the Maple Leafs working with Leafs and Marlies goalie coaches to get his game back and confidence back. She then went on to tweet a few minutes later saying, Mike Babcock cautions reading too much into Garret Sparks' hiatus. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, he said. Let's go through the process here. He won a Calder Cup for the organization last year. It's important we treat him right and help him get his game to the level he should be at. And then a few minutes later, more information from that Babcock interview. Mike Babcock, a wide decision on Sparks didn't come sooner. He says, we believe in Sparky, so we went back to the well a number of times. We chose to do everything we could to help him get his game where it needed to be, and now the team is way more important than any individual. Obviously, Garret Sparks had a fantastic year last year down with the Toronto Marlies, leading them to a Calder Cup championship, which is a big milestone for that organization. They had a lot of good young players that really gained a lot of valuable experience there, and he was certainly a huge part of that. Now, of course, coming into this season, there was a lot of debate on what the Maple Leafs would do, especially with their goaltending in the backup role. Obviously, everybody knew Frederik Andersen would be the starter and carry the bulk of the workload, and he's been solid for them here once again for the most part this season. But coming into the season for the backup role, they had Sparks, they had McElhiney, and Pickard. Now, all three of those goalies would require waivers to go down to the Toronto Marlies. So, of course, tough decisions had to be made, and no matter who they chose to keep on the big club and send down, those guys were going to need waivers, and they knew there was a pretty decent chance that they wouldn't end up getting claimed. Now, it was reported early in the season that they might have considered making some trades, trading one or two of them if they were able to, but there were no deals to be had apparently, and they ended up putting Pickard and McElhiney on waivers, and both ended up claimed. Now, Garret Sparks stayed with the Maple Leafs for the backup role, has been there the entire season along with Frederik Andersen. Now, Michael Hutchinson was called up earlier and did get into 5 games. Didn't look too bad. Certainly played better than Sparks has for the bulk of the season here. In his 20 appearances, Sparks has a 3.15 goals against average and a 902 save percentage. And there's been many nights when you've seen him just not look quite right and let in too many soft goals and just make mistakes that he shouldn't be making at the pro level. And of course, when he's been with the Marlies though last year, like I said, he was phenomenal, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs, was certainly instrumental to that Calder Cup run. So Garret Sparks is a good goaltender, but he hasn't been able to been consistent with his game at the NHL level. And I know many Leaf fans at times have certainly seen lots of frustration on social media in the games that he's played this year for sure. So now they've decided to go with Michael Hutchinson here. Obviously, this is the final game of the year coming up against the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday night. Frederik Andersen is expected to start that game, to play the final game, then go into the Bruins series, into the playoffs. That series, we do know for sure what is going to be in store here. Leafs versus Bruins yet again. And of course, Andersen will play, and Hutchinson will sit on the bench as the backup And I guess hopefully for Leaf fans, Anderson can get through this series and stay healthy. Obviously, Hutchinson's still, even though he's a pretty decent goaltender, still relatively unexperienced, especially when it comes to the playoffs. It's a whole different beast. They definitely need Anderson to be at the top of his game and to remain healthy here to have a good shot at not only beating the Bruins but having any success through the playoffs here whatsoever. The Maple Leafs have been fortunate as well to get some of their other key guys back, like Jake Gardiner and Travis Dermott, who have recently returned from injuries, making that blue line a little bit stronger, and that's also going to be an area of focus as the playoff series gets underway here with the Bruins here shortly. Now, that wasn't the only thing that happened today with the Maple Leafs. During practice as well, there was a bit of a scare with Frederik Andersen. I'm going to show you another tweet here from Kristen Shilton, who's covering them today at practice. She says, "Looks like Andersen took the puck high, stretching his neck out now with Geller, but hasn't retired to the dressing room as of yet." Then she went on a few minutes later to update saying, "Appears it was just a stinger for Frederik Andersen. Gave a nod to the trainers as he skated back into the practice fray, stepping into the net, taking shots. All seems to be well, but we'll inquire after. Carry on." So certainly a little bit of a scare there by Andersen. Obviously, during practice, you don't want to see players going down, especially your number one goaltender for sure. So hopefully he's okay. It'll be interesting to see if they stick with the decision to play him in that final game against Montreal. I know there seems to be a fair bit of difference of opinion, we'll say, on social media. Many Leaf fans saying that they would rather see him rest and not take the chance of getting hurt before the playoffs get started. And I've seen others saying that they feel he should play to kind of make sure he's at the top of his game and gets all continue the rhythm here going into the playoffs. So I guess we'll see what the Leafs do. It's expected that he likely will start. I don't see the Leafs straying from that plan just because of a little episode there in practice, but I guess time will tell. Now, I guess as Leaf fans, I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions. I know many of you, like I said, have been frustrated with Sparks throughout the whole year. Now, it's not clear as well if Sparks will be gone for the entire playoffs. I guess it depends as well how long the playoffs actually last for the Maple Leafs. If they get past the first round, maybe things will change. But obviously, like I said, it shouldn't matter too much because Andersen is expected to carry the workload. And as long as they can keep him playing, obviously the backup goaltender is not going to see any action anyway. But of course, you need to have confidence in that insurance policy, which is basically what the backup goalie is in the playoffs. You just never know when they're going to be needed. And obviously right now, the team, and I know many of his fans have lost confidence in Garret Sparks. I know Hutchinson's only had 5 games with them this year, but certainly given a little bit better of a performance. And like Sparks, has been a terrific goalie at the American Hockey League level as well. So I guess time will tell how this goes. It's been reported 10 days is where he's going to be going away here to kind of be on his own with these trainers and coaches and see if he can get his game back. Considering the playoffs start April the 10th, it's obviously the playoffs would not be over after the 10 days, even if the Leafs were to lose in the first round. So, well, I guess will remain to be seen here if he comes back and takes his backup spot on the bench behind Frederik Andersen once the 10 days are up. But it's really going to be difficult for them to see how his confidence is going, as they really won't be able to get him into game action. So it's really, difficult to predict how this will go. Would not be shocking to see Hutchinson remain with the Leafs until their playoffs come to an end, whenever that may be. And I'm sure all you Leaf fans are hoping that ends with a Stanley Cup, of course. If you're new to the channel, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams. There's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up before you go. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching. We will catch you next time.